Hello, the channel. Welcome, Simon. How you doing?
Hi there, everyone. Hi, the channel. Yeah, I'm very good. Thank you. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good. I was just lucky with the timing. You've got your Harangue shirt on, and my Sakura shirt has literally just arrived a couple of hours before we were going to do the preview. So I was sweating a wee bit because I thought it's not going to come in time, but I was pretty pleased that it came in time. So that's good.
Perfect twinning now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So, obviously you're sort of new to the channel in terms of coming on. So thanks very much, firstly, for coming on and giving us a bit of knowledge in the K-League side of things. So, you are Sorare Seoul on Twitter. I always kept calling it Twitter. I don't know why it's always known as Twitter, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's never going to change. Yeah, Sorare FC Seoul on Twitter and pretty much everywhere else. But yeah, thanks for having me on. This is my YouTube debut, so
Yeah.
hopefully it's not a catastrophe and somebody's welcome to have me back again in the future if it's not.
Good stuff. Well, hopefully we'll get you back on. We're actually having a wee chat about maybe getting something done for the first one, but it just didn't really work out timings wise. I think you were at the Sorare official meetup and stuff on the
Oh
Wednesday.
yeah, yeah. It's actually yeah the London Watch Party, which yeah, honestly, if anyone gets a chance to go to one of those in the future, then definitely take them up on the offer. It's well worth it.
Good. So in terms of video, like I've not had a chance to do my reward stuff yet, so we're going to look at that quite quickly. Since you mentioned community and stuff, I just want to show this insane stuff that Dog Sports brought for me. So like he was over in Japan and he came up the weekend. He was meeting me and Quinny. So I'm now the owner of some sort of Sho Suzaki. I think it's a towel or something. I don't know. Like probably a bit better for the women. He's got too much hair for me. But yeah, I do own a Sho Suzaki card. And me and Quinny were fighting because he brought a Kosai Tani thing, and Quinny loves Tani, but this is an official Japanese Maeda scarf, so it's got like all the Maeda stuff. Well, I presume it does. Like I can't actually speak Japanese, but it's like authentic, and this has come from the Japanese shop. And he also got this wild thing as well. Let's see. Just like totally went in and like, yeah, I'm going to bring up like memorabilia for McBride and Quinny and stuff. This is shoot on. I don't know what this guy is doing in this. It looks like he's I don't this this shoot on the cano. I don't know what that is.
That a USB port in his.
I
Well,
know, and there's a couple of wee surprises. I promised to actually open these. Quinny opened his on Sunday. He had no patience, but I said I was going to keep mine. So this is like a don't know who that is. Shimoda Hokuto. So this is a wee thing. It's like a keyring thing, and then you pull the thing out and it lights up. Lights up. Really shitey tacky stuff. And and then we've got some official Samurai Blue trading cards as well, which again Quinny opened up. Let's see if I actually get any shinies or whatever on this. Just a day of memorabilia. Just when you said there about the meetup and stuff like that, it just reminded me of the weekend just meeting Dog and stuff. So who'd I get? I've got Tanaka Wa. I'm assuming there's some women's cards in this as well then. Takuma Minamino, Nagano. Yeah, there's definitely women's cards in there. Sota Kawasaki, I definitely know him. And let's look at the manager. So I'm now the owner of some official trading cards from Japan. First time I've ever owned anything like that. So there we go. That's all my merch. It seems to be merch day. You've got your Harangue shirt on. I've got all my Japanese stuff as well. It's really cool.
it's what we play so rare for, isn't it?
I know it's weird like how like when that comp was on and stuff like I think I came top 20. I didn't really quite realize I was looking at like sorry our data and it doesn't actually show you've won the shirts and stuff on there. I remember just coming to like the rewards video and saying I've won a shirt. So I always really wanted to win it because you were messaging me and saying I got one of those Harangue ones at the meetup. I was like I really wanted one of those and I was like I was so happy with that. I think I was happier with some than some of the other like cards and stuff I'd won just because I really wanted one of these shirts. So
It hits different, doesn't it? And I think if I remember on the blog, they're drawing the if you were top collector by today, I think you get one of these shirts. I don't know if it's for every
yeah,
top collector or just the top collector overall, but
yeah.
yeah, more chances.
So I think a can's getting about 50 shirts then, I think, because he just bought like everything like that's just like I think
See
he
what you
bought
need
like
that later tonight.
he's just bought like I think see he was trading in more unique seller and everything as well. Traded off like a full like Real Madrid super rare stack for like 10 like like J League sort of uniques and stuff. So he's just going full bore for the contender like unique stuff and everything over the summer. So
I mean, that's a move I can get behind. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You don't need champions or stars.
I don't know. We'll see how that plays out because obviously a lot of them aren't actually in season, but then obviously he's bought a lot of the Sakurai ones as well, hasn't he? So he's just like totally been decorated in uniques and super rares and stuff. So, anyways, right, let's start getting through some stuff. I'm gonna share my screen so that we can have a quick look at rewards for the weekend. It shouldn't take too long because it wasn't really a actual vintage weekend, to be honest. But if we can get this up and then sorted. Um, yeah, we'll just go right into it. So I've got the screens loaded up for everything else. My camera just frozen there as well. Don't start doing this to me now. Hopefully it'll start working again when I stop doing the share. Otherwise, you're just going to be looking at me like that. This happens sometimes when I'm going between different applications and stuff.
I
So
give it a minute, turn it on or off, it'll work
I
again.
I do one of those IT things and you turn it on and then you turn it off. So uh, this is one of the things that I've been buggering about moving things about in Sorare as well. My rewards are in. Where's the bit to actually click on? It's like it's behind. It's hiding behind this. Look, yeah, clean. Yeah, so not really that much to open to be honest. A couple of cards actually. I was a wild one. It kind of links into the special as well. So I had a team that hit 460 in rare with a DNP, and I'd picked who was it? It was either Ha Chang-Ri or Tucci, and basically just missed both games. So yeah,
Big on to answer for those two.
that
And
sums up for me.
yeah,
So cards, nothing big in terms of cards, but $250. I think I'm probably just going to be like totally like just blasting that into some into some cards again. Bibaka full. Shit, I've not done the give. Oh, I've not done the giveaway yet either. I'll need to do that. I'll do it out with this video because I'll need to do it for quickness. But I've got two cards to give away, and I want people to get them for the weekend. That's actually a pretty good super rare, by the way. Roberto's like he's really highly rated, so I'll be keeping a hold of that one. Pretty pleased with that. That was in under 23, so a tier three, but as a tier three goal, like he's really. I think he was like doing loads of good stuff at like it was like under 18s or under 20 World Cup or something. So really nice looking rookie card as well. And then a tier three. Then I'll need to fix my camera. Well, your face still moves. Like just Frank Fabra. So yeah, it was a frustrating weekend, but like it was one of those, right? Like, just you think with double game weeks and things, you've got you like Lamas, for example, like I needed him to like just set his foot on the pitch. He never played the first one, he was on the bench. I thought that's good, he's gonna be playing the next one. He just never appeared at all. Just
it's
never
classic K League, isn't it? But yeah, I think it was Hoodwink that shared the knowledge, saying that he had a bit of a training injury, so
yeah.
hopefully it's not out for the big weekend coming up.
It's just a weird one how he actually like he made the first one and then he didn't play. Right. See
That's
if we can
strange.
fix this and play. We can fix it. Am I back? Or is it?
Hey,
Oh, I'm not. Still not working. For God's sake. I'm not spending like 3 hours editing this video and stuff. So we could just be looking at you all night, Simon. So that's fine. It doesn't really matter. So, I'm back. Yes, there we go. Get the Sakurai shirt on. Yeah, so I've got the screens loaded up anyway, and we're just gonna have a look firstly at the K League stuff. So uh,
Yeah,
I'll share that and we'll have a look on. So start on um hopefully on Sorare probabilities. Do you use Sorare probabilities or is this
I haven't used it yet. No, I'm still old school, I guess. Mostly Sorare data in terms of using that, but the new power grade thing on Sorare is pretty good. So flipping between the two now.
yeah. I think it's one of those like I've just sort of got used to actually like sort of using it now, if that makes sense. So hopefully you can see it on the screen as well. Yeah, there we go. And my camera's gone again.
At least you're not frozen in a bad position.
I know. It'll turn me off and you can just talk just now, right? But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I've pulled down the data for obviously the games that are coming up this weekend. So it should be quite good information. I mean, I use this like quite a lot, obviously, for the last time too. I'm going to move us down to the bottom of the screen so you can see all the data. So, what's your thoughts on the games for the weekend? Is there anything that really sort of jumps out at you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was Pohang sticking out, but I mean, as we saw today, Suwon, they're no pushovers. They're a bit unpredictable at the moment. They're starting to pick up some form, so that sort of win percentage and clean sheet percentage there, based on the whole run of the season, yeah, that's right. But are they a team coming into form? Ulsan, they find a way to rescue most games and find themselves back up at the top of the league somehow every year. But Jeju, and again, going away to Jeju, people that travel to the island, that's never an easy game. So, I don't think those are probably the two standout fixtures. This is bang on as it normally seems to be. But yeah, there's some nuances to it this weekend.
Yeah, so Jeju have been kind of on bad form as well. I think like Diageo took a few goals off them as well, didn't they? So I mean,
Yeah, I think
one
they've shipped
thing,
about 6 goals in the last 2 games. Yeah, it's not been good for
yeah.
them.
But I think it kind of sticks out with me with the K League stuff and everything as well. Is that I think like because obviously there's a K League and there's a J League thing. Sometimes like you want to mix and match it, whatever. You say, right, I'm just going to run like a Cezinha or whatever, and you say, oh, Sanfrecce, I've got like a really good like 50% clean sheet or whatever. But when you look at this here and like sheet percentage wise, like the highest like expectation is like 38%. So it's going to be quite well if somebody keeps a clean sheet, obviously that could be quite decisive, pardon the pun, but it's not as if there's any like overwhelming fixtures or whatever where you could just sort of nail one down. So
No, I think Anyang there, they're fairly tight, but Daegu have got a goal in them. If Lamas and Senior don't show up, then that helps Anyang's shot a lot there for keeping the clean sheet. Gangwon up until was that today weren't able to score many goals, but then yeah against JG wasn't it? They put a few in. So Gimchon doing very well, but they're currently in that point where the recruits are about to flip around. So we've seen over the last few game weeks a few very, very random DNPs. So yeah, then there might be good matchups, but then it's trying to work out who's safe within that.
so when is that actually happening then? Is that June or something? Or is it this month that this
Yeah, so it's a little bit messy. If you go on, I always just go on Transfermarkt website and then look at the contract end date. It says that's probably about 7 or 8 for sort of the start to middle of June, and then a few more at the end, and a couple at the start of July. But what tends to happen is they bank up like holiday. It's weird. I think it's like a job. They accrue their holiday, and then they just choose to take it all at the end, so they finish off earlier. But I swear every year you see this where there's one player, for example, that just always plays, and then just before he disappears, he'll go randomly missing, and yeah, everyone's sat there scratching their heads, going, "What on earth happened?" But that's half the fun.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? So Pohang wise, I mean, obviously Oberdan like scores pretty well overall, doesn't he? So you would think that he'll do pretty well in that game. Ulsan are funny because like I don't think like it's a vintage Ulsan team, but they do have guys who score really well. Like Kosang Beam's like just like, but he's been averaging like 60 or something, so he seems to be doing pretty well in like all games. So even though it's away, you would still think like guys like him and Kim, etc., will probably still put in a decent sort of AA, but there's been such a funny team, and even like Joe Ian Woo's like been injured from time to time as well, hasn't he? So like
Yeah,
Stark's injured, and
yeah, that's it. They've had a few injuries. Bojanic or Boyanic, never too sure how to say his name, has just returned back from injury. I think he smashed a monster score today. So yeah, if he can do another 90 minutes at the weekend, then you're looking good. But yeah, they're not the team they once were, but they still just seem to find a way to get a result.
I think the problem is if he's just smashing a big score, people will try to buy him this week, and he'll be about double the price. So it's like
I was watching him the whole time. He's been out for a month or two, and I was waiting to pick up his card. And I think I still ended up paying about 8 or 9 quid on his limited for
uh,
the new special. And everybody knew, everyone was waiting, hoping he'd be ready for this weekend.
he's a weird one because like I looked at his graph and he's just like plays a game, plays a couple of games, doesn't play. It's even like when he seems to be fit, sometimes he doesn't start, but then when he does, he always scores really well. And I guess from like $3,000 for first and limited, $3,000 first, and like the rare side of things, like you just might want to take a risk this weekend, like if you want to do it, then
I think you have to. I mean, the thing I've learned from Sorare more and more recently is, it's no good playing these players that get you 60 plus each weekend. You need those ones that can peak at 100 and hope that you can get the five in together that do it all at the same time because, 560 scores just isn't gonna, it might get you something decent, but it's not gonna get you that top prize these days.
yeah, definitely. The other thing that's kind of standing out for me here is John Book seem to have been like quite tight recently as well. He's been obviously there doesn't look as if it's high like clean sheet probabilities, but sometimes if you look at games in both teams have got low XG probabilities, then you might like end up scraping out one of those nil-nils or those dour games that are just dominated by defenders. It's Gus Poyet, this manager now for John Book, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, to be fair, I mean, I think everybody expected him or wanted him to fail, but he's doing all right at the moment, I've got to
Yeah.
say. I think they're second in the league now. They're picking up some results. The best thing about him is that he's barely rotating the team. So, my job on Predictify doing the lineups every weekend is he's in my good books just because I can predict him a little bit more as opposed to say old Sam who just don't rotate when they're supposed to and rotate when they're not supposed to. So yeah, I think you're right there actually. And Guangzhou are a bit funny. Obviously, they had their Asian Champions League run and then got completely smashed away. But yeah, I think they're a difficult team to rule out, but that could be yeah, it could be quite a good fixture actually.
They just don't really seem to score a lot of goals. So obviously Gabriel Tigral's been out for a bit, and then he's come back. He's not really done much, and we obviously have got guys like Asani. Like I looked at Asani, and like he does like a 70 and an 80, then just does like 10 30s or whatever. It's one of these guys who just seems to be quite streaky and stuff as well. So
Yeah, and they haven't been playing him a lot recently. He's been sort of limited to sub appearances. So again, can't figure that one out. You'd think he'd be one of the first names on the team sheet, but
yeah.
yeah, nothing's going on.
And we've got to this point. You haven't actually said much about Seoul, so I'm assuming they've been crap this season. Is that
No, that's
an
just
accurate synopsis?
pain. Yeah, it's painful. We started the season and it didn't look like we were going to concede a goal too often, and yeah, we couldn't score a goal, but that's all right if you can keep it tight and go 1 or 2 nil. But now we can barely score a goal and we're shipping them as well. So yeah, I think the manager might be walking on borrowed time at the moment if it carries on this way. But we'll see. Long season to go still to go.
So I've put this on. We'll have a quick look at Predictify as well. So you've obviously got all the stuff up there. So we'll have a quick look through the lineups and everything, see if that gives people Oh, I know on the site, obviously, you'll have like information on the site near the time. But the thing is, people are sort of making buying decisions and everything just now as well, where they're like, pick that guy up. So have those predictions. Really good. I flipped it onto obviously the player database well. So this is just like a filter of the data wise what would be the highest sort of projected scores. So again, haven't been able to actually filter out start percentages or anything here to sort of narrow it down to starters. But yeah, I mean there's Bojanic up there at 81, so it's not the biggest surprise really there, is it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, a little bit. I mean, Yago's probably not playing or definitely not starting, I wouldn't suspect. So yeah, you can rule him out. But yeah, obviously Wonderson sadly out. Seems like a fairly long-term injury, but yeah, a lot of those names at the top there seem the right ones. Wang Du Young for FC Seoul. Not sure I like the kid, but yeah, he's got a big job to do in the centre of midfield of for Seoul at the moment without Ki Sung Young around as well.
I'm just sort of liking the fact that I've seen the top of the list and I've actually got some of them. That's my. I hadn't actually looked at this. Like I just had the filter on from before, so I hadn't looked at it. I mean, Mota. I think I managed to get a rare of him actually. Which is good. Bojanic, I haven't actually managed to pick up. And the thing is, I do have like previous season collection, but obviously you need an in season. I was looking at screen share now. You need an in season, so you can't even like mix in one of the previous ones, which has obviously been deliberate from Sorare. I bought Lee Tai Siak on one of the previous videos. Actually, I've been looking at him and stuff, and I thought like his data and stuff was pretty good. So if Pohang have got a good fixture, that's going to be quite handy for me, I think.
Yeah, Lite Sok should be fairly nailed. He's on set pieces and corners, so yeah, he's a pretty good bet.
The
Yeah,
defender, isn't he? Is that right?
yeah, but sometimes they'll sort of play him on the wing. He's a bit more of an offensive fullback, but yeah, he's a good player. He was FC Seoul and got traded last year in a terrible, terrible piece of business. But yeah,
Yeah.
still really rate him.
Yeah, so Oberdine I picked up at the start of the season, so it's not one of the fancy like versions, but like obviously in the rare side you can mix in three and two, so I'll definitely have him in. Kim Jin Hyun I've got as well, so he done a monster actually at the weekend. He was in one of my teams that ended up getting absolutely ravaged by randomness. So
Yeah, I think he did like 40, 50 AA, didn't he? Yeah, he put up a monster score.
it was like he ended up on 90 or something. So we've got the Ulsan guys there. So we've got obviously Kyle Marcello has been absolutely brilliant for Diageo as well. I mean, you think they're bottom of the league, how many goals they've conceded, and he's still been averaging, although I think maybe he's running a bit above average because he's had an assist and a goal and stuff. But like he's been doing pretty well, I think, in terms of AA still, considering how much they've conceded.
Yeah, he can easily do 30, 40 AA, and you're right, he's been getting goals, assists, last man tackles, clearances off the lines. Yeah, he's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for them.
Yeah. There's a couple of guys who are obviously in doubt. Ha Chang Ri, I don't know if he's going to be back. Kim Joo Sung, I mean, he's a guy I've held for a wee bit now, and he's like seems pretty reliable to be honest. Like just always putting in a bit of AA, isn't he, for Seoul? So
Yeah, he'll always smash the AA in, but at the moment it just seems to be that -14 for loss of clean sheet and yeah, goal conceded or more at the moment. The Sorare data scores I still have that glitch at the moment. So if you look on there, you see all the K defenders with clean sheets, and I'm
yeah,
forever looking at it going, oh, he's got about 80, 90, and then you go, no, take that 14 off, take the other bits off. But yeah, he's still doing really well. Really good up card to keep hold of. Probably too good for the K League. Hopefully he gets a European move or something this summer or in the winter.
yeah. Al Arab's been pretty good as well. I mean, he seems to be putting a lot of like good scores. Try to see if there's anybody just slightly down from this that's kind of like sticking out. I mean, obviously people will be wanting to look for a bit of overall value. I mean, I think like off the top of my head, I do think that Diageo are like reasonable value. I mean, they've not always been smashing it, but they're right up there at the top of the table, and you just kind of feel as if they're just on the verge of just having a couple of games where they do just produce those like sort of 70s and 80s or whatever you need from a defensive point of view. Like,
Yeah, easy. I mean, obviously they're playing FC Seoul, so great chance of leading a goal at the moment.
I didn't mean it that way. Like,
No, 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 but you're not wrong. But yeah, like you say, Ha Chang Ray, he hurt a lot of people, me in particular as well this game week.
yeah,
Not sure what the update is on him, but there's Anton as well, his other centre back pairing. But apparently he's got a bit of a knock as well. So
what's
yeah,
he?
be careful with him. Interestingly, Bobson is a defender card, but he plays as centre mid, so he's a bit random. He will sometimes score massive AA in some games, and in other games like almost zero. So it's one of those kind of weird, so rare, card out of position situations. So he might be worth a gamble.
Yeah, that's a bit like the kind of Rio Hatate card for Celtic, like the defensive card, like because he plays a lot of risky passes, he just gets shafted a lot of times and like possession conceded. So like although the defender card's got the highest peak because obviously he could get a clean sheet, also there's some games where he just gets just hammered on AA. But I don't think there's anybody else really sort of before we go into the sort of team predictions or anybody else that's like sort of on your mind in terms of anybody you think to look out for. Does that cover the main players?
Yeah, I think that's probably some of the main players. I think, Anyang probably are one of the cheekier plays. That's one of the teams I've sort of lined up myself in limited and rare. Obviously, people can go and check my gallery out if they want to see what I'm trying to line up and get any inside tips. But yeah, I think, some of the rotation is a little bit difficult to work out, but there's just at the bottom of your screen there, Choi Kyu Hyun. Yeah, if he plays, if he starts, he should get minutes. He's been doing all right, and I thought he was significantly undervalued for what he could potentially deliver this weekend.
Yeah, Mott has been pretty good, hasn't he? So he's been scoring quite a lot of goals, and obviously, but as you said, like obviously with Kim Jin Yoon, like sometimes he's just doing the 50s and the 60s, but I mean that he put in a 40 or something at the weekend. So if it's one of those games, then there might not be a lot of hundreds or whatever here. I mean, we're talking about like
Yeah,
a confined set of games where it's just a special with just these games, and you might not have many good scores. So that's what I really love about these kind of specials as well, because you're not talking about playing against everybody on Sorare. It's just these games, and sometimes like 85 or whatever can actually be the highest score. So it just makes for a really fun sort of open type sort of special where everybody's got a reasonable chance of winning it.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. And, huge respect to So Rare that, the prize pools are pretty healthy. You don't need a monster score to be picking up, sort of 20, 30, $40 in this game week. So, if you've got three teams out in limited or a few out in rare, then yeah, it can be a nice little money spin for sure.
That's because Celtic are not in it.
Yeah, it's nice. No Scottish or Croatian smashers to worry about.
Yeah. So I think the screen sharing's still working, isn't it? You can see that at your end as well, yeah. Yeah, good stuff. So yeah, the all the predictions are up on Predictify, so that's really good to have everything up nice and early. Obviously, we're sharing it here on the video, but if you do want access, you've got to subscribe, use code McBrideAce. So anyway, I get that in. So yeah, we'll go through these quickly and just see if there's anybody that sort of sticks out, and then we can come on to the J League stuff. So yeah, Pohang, any real sort of surprises there for you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I won't go through all of the details now, but I've tried to put the extensive notes as I can in the comments below, especially around certain players that have DNP'd or are currently out injured. Han Hyun-soo there, he missed at the weekend. They think concussion, so again, could be back. So certain doubts there. But yeah, I can see the players you've got, probably the best two in that lineup in terms of Obadan and Lite Sok. So yeah.
I do have Lee Ho Jae as well, but obviously he's not in the
Yeah, he
start.
went missing. Rumor again of a reasonably serious injury, but you hear this all so often, and then the next week they show up and play. So you take it with a pinch of salt. The news that you get out of Korea just sometimes, you know, it's not what you're used to in terms of other football leagues. Let's just say that.
A little bit raging with Shunta Tanaka, to be honest, because I just bought, I think I bought his Sakurai version like the day before he done his ACL, and I've also got his Super Rare as well. So anyway, we'll come back to the Japanese stuff, but yeah,
Yeah,
moving on. So Suwon, the guy I picked up recently here was actually Sabag. So I don't think I've relinked McGalley, so it doesn't show as if I own him, but I do actually have Sabag, and I do have Anderson Oliveira as well. So I've got a couple of guys from here, which
yeah,
is
they're
so.
the best two in that team by far. Sabag doesn't really score too much in the way of AA, but he's getting goals. So again, in a competition like this, his 60s or 70 score is probably going to get you a long way towards the top.
I think he's one of those guys where he's not like overly expensive. So like if you're just looking for a forward card that can get a goal, everybody like will be like sort of drawn to Pohang and sort of Pohang about the best fixture or whatever, which is fair enough. But sometimes like doesn't quite work out the way that everybody would expect. Anyang obviously are going to be interesting because Diageo have been pretty poor. So, like with them being at home, like as you said, they could be one of those ones to go for. People maybe will go for like en masse, and like sorry, they'll buy like Lingard and stuff like that because
Yeah.
we're trying to do this to expand people's knowledge. But if you recognise somebody, you'll be more comfortable maybe picking up a Lingard or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, here the big names are obviously Motta and Oliveira, but the one that I'm expecting to get full abuse on is Kim Sol, the goalkeeper. He took a bit of a knock to the eye and had to get subbed off. That was today, I think, or was it yesterday? I keep getting the days mixed up. But yeah, I think he's going to be all right, but you never know. If it's one of those ones that swells up, then small chance that we could see the goalkeeper switch around, which will just hurt everybody. So yeah, caution on this one.
That'd be one of those I think to check like nearer the time. I do like Motta. I mean, he's always been quite reliable for me, and I've had Kim who I'm not very good at pronunciations, as you can tell. I've had him for
Me neither. I'm not going to correct you.
um Diageo wise, I mean, yeah, I mean, as you can see, I've got quite a lot of Diageo guys.
No Lamas though. That's interesting.
No, I do. I've just not relinked my gallery. I've got a La
Okay.
Mature. So, gosh, do you want to rewind back to the start where I was complaining about them? Yeah, I mean, they're interesting. Like, they had quite a good start to the season as well. They won the, like, I think, first two or three, and they've just been really poor since. But then Cezinha get injured, and like, even though Lamas been doing well, it feels as if Cezinha just seems to be the talisman, doesn't he? And he's just
Yeah,
out
he defines them really. Yeah, so hopefully he's back. Obviously, just recovered from a bit of a long-term knee injury issue, slight knock again. Hopefully, it's just bruising, and he's the type of player that if he's 70-80%, he'll play. So yeah, fingers crossed we should see him there.
What I really didn't get was that Lamas was on the bench and Cezinha played like 88 minutes, and you're like, and they were winning like 3-1 against Jeju as well, and Jeju looked pretty poor, and you're thinking, right, scored 2 goals, got another game in a couple of days, like, rotate them, and they never, and then both of them just never turned up today. So yeah, I mean, obviously, keep an eye on that. It's good that there's more information on the site now as well, people playing this special, um, probably not good for the guys in Predictor 5, but like, the information on the site's not available just now. As I said earlier, like people are going to be making like buying decisions everyone just now. Will I pick up a Cezinha or whatever? So it's good to have this information as soon as possible, obviously. And then we've got Diagin away against Seoul. So obviously it's away at Diagin as well. I mean, they're a kind of weird one, Diagin, because like seem to get a bit under the radar, maybe just because they don't have like massive Sorare scorers, but like I think they're top of the league at the moment, aren't they? So like
Yeah. Yeah, they're doing something right. I think that the one player I really like here is Kim Moon Kwan, the right back. He sort of flew under the radar a little bit because he started the season injured and he's just sort of eased back in the last few games. But
yeah,
he's a fullback that can put in a 70-80 score without a DA. So yeah,
yeah.
he's probably someone you want on your side, but I don't think his price ever dropped too much.
Yeah, I've had him for a while actually. Like I think he's been around the block a bit in terms of um the K-League Village Bicycle, as we refer to it in Scotland. Xiao Ming Q as well. I mean, obviously he's not really an AA guy, but he
He
seems to be
scored goals.
a goal
Yeah,
scorer. So
yeah.
that type of stuff, I mean, that type of stuff could definitely make a difference. Like if you get like games that are just, 2-1 or whatever, there's not many clean sheets about or whatever, and you've picked like a couple of scorers, like that could win you decent cash this weekend. And obviously I'll just let you talk us through. So since you're sorry, so when you go, Simon.
Yeah, go on then. Yeah, I mean the easy part here should be the back five with the goalkeeper. We've barely seen any rotation all season, so pretty much good to say pick up any of those guys and they can all score AA, they can all chip in. If you get the clean sheet, your quid's in, but those have been few and far between, and this is a tough game. I think yeah, the rest of the team is where it's lacking. Lingard, he was sort of semi-rested today, came on for a sub appearance, actually got the assist, nice corner that Moon Min put in as sort of, as the impact player that he is. He'll never start a game, it seems, but loves to come off the bench and look like one of the best players on the pitch. But yeah, it's probably largely the team that most people would expect. Whether the manager's decided he's had enough of Chu Young Wook's inability to find the goal and starts big Doug Anzic up top, then we'll see. And yeah, Jung Sung Won, who was a good scorer, just back from injury, was a big surprise to start the game today. So whether he can do two in a week, we'll find out. But he's an important player, and we missed him a lot. So I imagine he'll start if he can.
I mean, the other thing that strikes me is like there's not really going to be many full stacks for this competition as well. So unless like, somebody goes a bit wild and like Anyang beat Diageo like 4-0 or something, like you should be able to piece together a team. But like, I'm looking at this and thinking, you might want that guy from that team or that. So I mean, I think we need to think out the box, which can be quite interesting. A lot of times people just go and buy the full collection. They want to get their collection bonus, which you need an edge for these competitions. So fair dues, but like, yeah, you might have to get your thinking caps on and maybe go with a goalkeeper, defender, or just look at the predictions and see if you can piece together five rather than just going late, not lazy, but like just different strategy, So
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm a big fan of goalkeeper defender stacks, and then yeah, you can build around that. As long as you don't have your mids and your forwards playing each other, then yeah, you're all good. But I think you say about full stacks and whether it's the lazy way out. I think sometimes picking five starters in the K League for one team can be quite a challenge anyway. So
yeah,
if you do manage that and the team pops off and gets a big win, then yeah, I feel like I wouldn't judge anyone for playing the easy stack option. They deserve it in a way.
fair dues. So moving on, Jeju have been pretty poor, so I don't think there'll be much sticking out from a Jeju point of view. I mean, I don't think like I actually own any of these guys, which is a bit unusual because I think I've just bought everybody I possibly could that's good scorers. But Yeah,
Yeah, they're a funny one because they've got some good players and some okay scorers in there. But yeah, just the team performances right now are letting them down. I really like Namtahi. He's a forward that can get AA, but he's been a bit decisive shy recently, so that's his problem. Yuri's not a bad striker, again, can put in a bit of AA, but he's subject to being randomly dropped. So yeah, always a bit of a turn off on him. But yeah, used to rely on Jeju for their defensive back line, Juhan and yeah, Kim Dong-jun, the goalkeeper, normally getting big scores, but yeah, not so much in the last couple of games.
conceding too many goals, aren't they? And then Ulsan, I mean, Ulsan have been interesting. Like, I mean, like Kim has put in loads of good scores. Ludvigsen seems to have dropped back to left back as well, so I wasn't really expecting that in my bingo book, if I was perfectly honest. But there's just certain guys here just who do generally score well. Jo Yin Woo, Kim, Ko Sun Bin, obviously Kang Sang Woo, like maybe a bit more hit or miss because he's a fullback. So I think Kim Gwon's a bit more reliable, and then Bojanic, it's like just like when he plays, he scores well, but like you've got to get him on a going day, right? Like he's got to be playing, so.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. It's just I feel like a cop out the last few weeks when I do these because I'm scared to put anybody above about 60%, so it's a lot of people are expecting to rotate the last few games. They didn't. There seems to be certain players that are now playing out of position, even though they've got nearly everybody fit. So yeah, if you can get the right players and they start, then yeah, you could do very well with Ulsan. But it's a prediction gamble. You gotta contend with that.
Yeah, I do get the percentages because like they do a lot of sort of mad stuff. Like one thing that really annoyed me was like the week it was everything was running contender and like I decided to run them in the select target because like we weren't even sure if Joe Yoon Woo was going to be back. I think it was 50%. They all decided to smash and the team had put out would actually have done really I think it would have what came first or second in contender super rare and like I missed the target, which I wasn't bothered about. I just wish I'd had it in a contender team, but like, yeah, I guess it's good to have depth, but sometimes choices can bugger you up as well. So, um, gang one, I mean, the guy I've got here, he doesn't show up here, but I use him. He's actually a mid card as well as Jai Hyuk. I mean, he's been really good this season. Like he's been proper reliable, really, hasn't he, in terms of scores?
Yeah, he's one of those AA monsters. He doesn't always come in with a DA, but if he does, then yeah, you're going to be pushing a 90, 100 score with him. So he's solid. I really like the other centre back, Shin Min Ha. I think he's sort of 18, 19 years old. It's his kind of first proper season, but he looks a proper prospect for the future. I don't think he'll be another one out of the Gangwon Youth Academy production chain in terms of finding his way into Europe soon.
Good. And obviously Tucci looks like he's injured at the moment. Or
Yeah, he hurt me, he hurt a lot of people. He until I hear news, I'm not going to put him in. I always feel like I'd rather not give people false hope. So if
yeah.
somebody disappears, I'm going to sort of exclude them, and then if I hear anything, obviously I'll update this as the week goes on.
Yeah, sounds good. I mean, he's a Montenegrin international as well, isn't he? So, I mean, like, he is actually a reasonable quality
Right. Yeah.
player as well, So, like, you see why, obviously, even if Shin Min has, like, a big prospect, why he's been keeping him out, 'cause he's just got lots of experience and everything as well. And obviously, the army team, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I thought at one point it was just going to be, like, all, like, Lee Dong-gyun, but, like, Kim Bong Soo's been brilliant this season as well, hasn't he? Like, he's been putting in lots of good scores too.
Yeah, yeah, he's another AA monster, and yeah, does like to pop up with the odd decisive. So I mean, Wu as well, similar player, but probably not to the same level. But again, he's someone I looked at as a budget pickup. He's very similar. He can score if he does get a goal or an assist, then he'll be pushing one of those high scores. But yeah, most people will be focusing around Lee Dong-kyung. And to be fair, most of the defenders there, the sort of the three parks that they line up can all score very well. So yeah, there's always a little bit of funny rotation. What I always struggle with Gimchon is they have about three U22 players that will start and they roll them around randomly. And depending on which one comes in, it knocks two or three other players out.
Yeah,
So
a
you
mad
have to
one.
get that one prediction right to then nail the whole team.
Yeah, this is definitely park the bus and park. Yeah, I mean, I quite like the goalkeeper as well. I think he's actually pretty good. Yeah, it's an interesting one because Gangwon, like, they don't really seem to be. I know he scored a few in the last game, but they don't really score a lot in general. So, could be a kind of good outside shout there. Uh,
Yeah,
going
could be a
forward.
game Tron week if you can get the right players.
And then the last game, just to have a look at here. Obviously, we'll have a look at the Sakura stuff as well. And we don't have any predictions for the J League yet up, so obviously we're not going to be able to cover that. But we can have a look at um the sort of stats and everything. Have a look at the highest projected scores. So Guangzhou first. I mean, they're a weird one recently because they've had like is it ACL Elite or something they call it? They've been playing some big games, haven't they?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they got out. They got out of the into the knockout stages there, and then got completely torn apart. But yeah, they're a good team. They probably have one of the lowest budgets in the league, but one of the best managers. So it's a nice balancing act that they've got going on. But yeah, I think they probably, even though they got home advantage here, they probably got their work cut out against sort of a coming into form Drumbook team. So yeah, there's a few nice players in there. Reese or Reyes, the striker will be a popular option for a lot of people. Again, he's one of those guys that can chip in sort of 10, 20 AA as a forward. So that's the type of guy you want in your gallery. But yeah, a few other nice options in there potentially on the sort of the more budget side.
I think Tigreal was probably one of our best players as well, but he was injured at the start of the season, and then he's kind of one of those. He's not really done much stuff yet, but like he is still under 23, and think like even if you think ahead for the summer or whatever, because obviously a lot of the under 23 stuff's going to stop. Like he could be a good option as well. Anyway, I hope so because I bought a couple of the super rares. So anyway,
Yeah, I see him as a bit of a form player. I think if he hits a bit of form, then he'll go firing. But yeah, he's like you say, he's come back from injury. I think he's not quite found his feet again yet. And yeah, I'm not sure if they're gonna sort of switch him and Asani around a bit. Sometimes K-League managers, there's always this sort of speculation as to whether they treat the international players different to the Korean players. But yeah, it seems like those two might be sharing a bit of minutes or not getting full 90s. So that would be the caution with them.
so to translate that for the viewers, he's been shite since I bought him. Anyway, moving on. And the last but not least is Jeonbuk, and yeah, I mean, Big Gus has done a pretty good job there. I mean, Hong Jin Ho is a guy who I've owned for a while. I haven't actually bought his in-season card, but I've kind of had him. He's like, I think he's nearly the same age as me, to be honest. But so we're putting in some pretty solid scores recently, anyway. So
Yeah, yeah, he's one of the I'm not gonna say quite legend of the K League, but yeah, he's definitely one of the cult heroes around. You can rely on him. Park Jin Sop, I think, is probably one of the standout players here, along with John Jin Woo, who they picked up last season from the Blue Wings. You can see there his jersey hasn't updated, but yeah, and those are the guys I'd be focusing in on. Compagno or Compagno, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name properly, the striker. He did start the season really well, really hot form, but has died down a little bit. But despite nearly everybody begging the Discord for months to get his card minted, we still haven't got it. So
I think there is, but it's in the packets now, so it's
is
not.
it? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the gift cards. Yeah, it's not.
Oh,
There's no like designed ones. I think maybe what they were trying to do is maybe see if you could try and get them designed or whatever. But I seen them earlier. It's definitely limited. I don't know. They've been doing a kind of weird launch where sometimes like limiteds have come out and there's no rares or anything. So I wonder whether they're just designing some of those fancy ones to get them. So, but he's definitely has got some cards. I've seen him now. So that's
okay. Maybe that's the sneaky pickup then, because you can still obviously have his in season, but just not as the Heritage Special. But yeah, good player.
could be a good differential, yeah. And John Jinwoo is a guy I picked up as well because I was looking at him too, and I thought I was hoping he would get one of the sort of special ones, but again, he's still in the package just now as well. So I guess I've just not been able. And the other one's Song Min Kyu. I mean, I thought like there was points like in the last couple of years, I thought he was actually going to be really good, and he just seems to have like just sort of faded away. But he's just one of these guys who can do like a sort of decent like AA sort of score and stuff on his day. I mean, he's not an AA player, but he's kind of capable of that. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of food for thought there anyway. So
Yeah.
cool. Right, so we've went through, so that's all K-League stuff. I think there's loads to go at. I mean, again, one of the things I really love about like what Sorare have done here is the fact that um they've separated the competitions, right? So like, you can go between things and like yeah, it's such a like open contest. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, yeah, you're spot on. It really does sort of limit down the variations, but there's still enough to make it interesting and challenging for, yeah, for people to get their teeth stuck into it.
Yeah, I think my camera's going mental again. It's because so that this spreadsheet's linked to my gallery, and it's that's probably why. So I'm gonna anyways, we're gonna load up the J League stuff. Have a look at a bit of the data there as well. That said, like I couldn't really do without the spreadsheet now. It's one of those like I know like people probably don't want to like always spend too much money, like if they're only like playing certain um sort of competitions or whatever, not investing a lot. But for a couple of euros a month or whatever, like I definitely would recommend using Miguel's spreadsheets or probabilities. Maybe one day I'll be able to fix my camera as well. There we go, it's back on. It's just because everything's running on my computer basically. But so there's a couple of games that don't have data for, but we'll cover the ones that are up already. I mean, it's always quite hard to get all the data through like mega early. I think the problem is like Makita have got a game midweek as well. So they've still got a game to go. But we can go through things quickly. But we might like I think Sanfrecce are a weird one. Like, I don't know if you've got any Sanfrecce cards, but it feels as if they're proper underperforming their sort of expected clean sheets and everything at the moment. They just keep like conceding at the end and everything. It's like it's from one of those seasons. Weird.
Yeah, I won a couple of their sort of rare cards in season last year, and I was using those a bit, so I was half following them. But yeah, they're very, very inconsistent. Difficult team to get a read on.
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of the other thing that's really surprised me is how bad the Marinos have been. I mean, like Cerezo and Zaka are interesting because they're quite like an attacking team. So like I've got Lucas Fernandez and like he's not a big AA guy or whatever, but he just gets a lot of like goal contributions, so he's just quite sort of reliable for that. But again, he does get rotated as well. He's not like 100% nailed to start, but even when he doesn't start, he seems to like contribute something. So I'm quite pleased to see Cerezo up there because they do play a kind of attacking style, I think, and the Mariners just been rotten. I mean, they've just been like they're playing against Al Nassr and stuff, and then you look at the table and you're going, they're bottom of the league. Like, how can it be like that's wild? Like,
Yeah, I wonder if it's that classic, when a team's in that sort of competition, if they're not really set up for it or used to it, then it sort of throws their league for performance. But yeah, it's strange to see them struggle like that.
I think they made some decent signs well because they signed Thomas Stock Yang and like his data and everything was reasonably good last season, but he just seems to have had a nightmare start. So everybody's probably looking at him and thinking he's just one of the worst players in the world, but he's not actually. He just like he had a bad start. He had an absolute shit. I think he had an error led to go against Al Nassr where the ball came across. He shanked it, came off the post, came out and it went to the guy. And you thought that's like either one of the best assists ever or just like one of the most embarrassing assists. But like, he just seems to have had a nightmare start after being injured. But
And that's when you want to be picking these players up, though, isn't it? You don't want to be buying them when they've smashed in their, 70s and
yeah.
80s in a row. You want to be getting the guys that can do that when they're not doing it. That's how you got to play this game.
Yeah, so Cerezo have got quite a few good players. I mean, obviously we'll hopefully get so a few games missing, so it's maybe not overall too accurate, but I still rather look at the data. I mean, obviously Catano, I really like it. Cerezo Izaka. I mean, he's kind of not been firing as much recently, but so people probably avoid him, but he's quite an exciting player. So Ratal, I think plays up front. Again, is just like zero AA, but gets some goals, and obviously Lucas Fernandez will be like very, very like popular just because he's been smashing it recently. I think he got three decisives the last game. So um Yokohama are interesting because with Cerezo being like quite attacking, like I do feel like, somebody like a Jan Matthias or whatever could just go out and just hammer in a hat trick or whatever and just like, you know, have a huge effect on the special. So you need to watch out for stuff like that as well.
Yeah, it's probably not the game to have any goalkeepers or defenders in, is it?
No, I think that's pretty accurate. Barca got one back. Interesting. We're recording this as Barca's on as well. This is we buggered this up, but the thing is, I really wanted to record this quite early to try and get it out in time for people to actually watch it because this is going to be like an hour or something, and there's no point uploading it in like Friday mornings. Like nobody's going to get a chance to actually watch it. So, Vissel Kobe, interesting. I mean, again, another team who are pretty capable of putting in like that kind of stack like performance, like a kind of like Mayakawa and Sakai and Fuller and stuff, they're capable of doing something like that. I think we 43% clean sheet percentage is actually pretty decent, isn't it?
I was going to say, based on this, they look like the standout team, don't they? So if you're going to be stacking anybody or thinking about it, then based on the stats alone, they look like the team to be looking at.
Yeah. So it's just a shame we're missing a couple, but I don't think, obviously for the other games, like Sanfrecce, it's a bit of a weird one against Gamba because Gamba scored 4 goals, I think, the last game. So I know that Usami was kind of in and out the team and then he came back in and it looks like Misuta's kind of moved down a wee bit. So, Sanfrecce, like, yeah, like, I've got a Sho Sasaki scarf, by the way. What a player he is. But
I think they'll be popular. They've got a big following, haven't they? There's quite a few people in the community. So yeah, again, they could fly under the radar slightly for this competition, and people who've been holding them for a long time could get their rewards, which would be, I always like seeing that, to be honest.
I think I got Osako, Sho Sasaki, and Araki, like the sort of defensive trio that I wanted for like 20 quid. And like with obviously like the how inflated the prices and everything have been here, like I don't think it's that bad a play. Obviously they don't score many goals, so you want to put in your own stamp on the other guys, but like they're not like overly expensive. And even if you just get stuck with them for the season, like you can return that no problem over the course of the season because a lot of these cards have been quite pricey, right? So
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think, my first reaction was that the prices were a bit crazy, but obviously we've been used to where the prices had been for a little while now. So actually, yeah, they're not that bad. You've got a full season almost worth of utility, and pretty soon everyone's going to be clamoring for these types of contender cards, despite having spent the entire European season not wanting to look in. They'll be getting the FOMO and wanting to buy in. So yeah, even if you don't want to use them for the whole season, you might be able to sell them out and still make back a lot of your money.
yeah, the amount of money on offer this weekend is just crazy. Like I said, even in limited, it's like $3,000, $2,000, $1,000, 700. So it's quite chunky up top. If you really hit it off, like as I said, I've just named like a one of the best defensive stacks you can pick, and like you can pick it up for 20 or 30 quid or whatever. So you're still going to do a really significant ROI. So in terms of the sheet, obviously Frontale are a bit of a weird one. Kashima have been pretty good, so although they've got a reasonable XG there, I'd be quite surprised if Frontale get like a clean sheet because the Antlers have been pretty good in terms of goal scoring, haven't they?
Yeah, yeah, they're one of those teams that you always see pop up, and yeah, Kawasaki again. I've held a few of their cards over the years, and you just never know what to expect with them. So yeah, that's one of those. I think the stats really reflect it. Could go either way. Could be goals galore. Hard to wear that one out.
I think Kashiwa are also sticking out there. Koga's been really good. I think the problem with Koga is I think he did like an 80 or a 90 or something today. So like people will see that and they'll just assume that he's the best player in the world and they'll just be still be steaming in. But he's actually got a pretty good overall rating. And Okayama have been interesting. The big bald's been really superb in goals. But he's like he just seems to be like one of the games he got a last man tackle or something. You're just like he just didn't really deserve a big score, but he just seems to be picking these random things let out. He saved a penalty one game. They're not really actually that tight at the back, but when he keeps the score down a bit, he just seems to get loads of AA and everything. So
It's the type of guy you want, isn't it? You want that sort of reliability, just whether they're playing good or not.
yeah, interesting. But I think Racel could do pretty well in that game. Obviously, I think our Racel at home. I don't know. I think it's just shown Racel first here because it's going in order of starts.
They are at home. Yeah, they are at home. Yeah.
Home. Interesting. I don't think there's anything else really sticking out too much, but obviously there'll be some individual names there. So Savio's been like superb this season. Like he's going for huge prices at the moment, but I can kind of
Yeah,
see.
but he couldn't score over about 35 for the first few games of the seasons, and now he's really taken off. But I think that's probably one of those sort of new environment after a transfer. He's finding his feet, finding into the system. But yeah, I'm not surprised he's one of the more expensive players for this weekend.
And Fukuoka, that's what's easy for me to say. We'll call him a Vispa. Obviously they've got Ando and Tomoya Miki, and they've both been averaging 60s. So, but they're a weird team because they don't really seem to have like anybody else that really scores well. It's just like them, like it's this just a proper weird one.
This were always sort of back in the old days, they were kind of my threshold like grinding stack. They just had players that would always sort of put in those 50, 60 points and were relatively budget friendly. So yeah, yeah, bit of a strange one.
Yeah, and then we've got obviously Yokohama. We've got Fukumori's just been the GOAT. He's been brilliant. I have actually had good success with Makita, but they're a weird one. They've not been playing that well recently, but like, yeah, I mean, they've actually paid me back. Like, I just kind of feel as if maybe I should feel differently about it, but like, I just don't give a shit anymore. It's just like, well,
Yeah,
obviously I want to keep winning or whatever, but like because they've like done me well in one of the game weeks, I'm like, I feel as if the pressure's off a bit, which is a nice position to be in. But
what you want to be. But yeah, they're a strange one. They're probably the team I pay the most attention to because they got a couple of the Korean boys. One of my all-time favorites. They've got Na Sang Ho and
yeah.
Oh Se-hun as well up top. But both of those have been sort of in and out of the team. But yeah, I think they're struggling to find the right sort of lineup and blend of players to get results at the moment, especially after sort of the unexpected success of last season.
I think we'll see who's like doing the sort of Chris Sutton role, isn't he? Like he's like up there and he's linking the play and stuff, but he doesn't really seem to be contributing too much in terms of goal scoring actions. But
Yeah, no, I wouldn't disagree with you there.
so yeah, so we've filtered it here to the highest projected scores. Now we do have like some start present percentages on the gal sheet, so that's good to kind of start ruling some people out, which is quite interesting. But I mean, one thing that really like sticks out here is like so there's not really that many high projected scores. So it could be one of these. Like if you just pick out the right guys, like you could just get a big edge on the field. I think if you get that one guy that just does that 80 or that 90 or whatever, it could just pay dividends for you. So.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, some interesting names on that list. I'm just scanning down them. Obviously, yeah, it's a little bit skewed without the starting percentages, but yeah, there are some big name smashers in there that I'm sure would be quite budget friendly right now for a lot of people and could really make a difference, like you say.
Yeah, I mean the other thing as well as data wise, just because there's no data for like Sanfrecce and stuff, some of the guys will be missing from here. So sorry about that, but it's quite early in the week and obviously it's just try to pull through all the well, I don't do a spreadsheet. Why am I apologising? The gal should be apologising, get him on. No, but I mean obviously it does happen sometimes where there's midweek games where the data just isn't like fully up to date and like Opta and things. But as I said, I do think like Sanfrecce like could be an interesting one because I think people just assume that Gamba will get a goal or whatever, but it doesn't always work out like that, right? I mean, they're well capable of putting in that sort of clean sheet percentage, and I think they'll probably be like approaching 40% or something in terms of clean sheet percentage, even though Gamba are pretty good. It's in between 30 and 40, and yeah, still not bad to be honest. It's like you look at it, like some of the top clean sheet percentage here are only in the 40s, so yeah, it's like it's not an overwhelming yeah. Yeah, I think that's the one to pick, but they've become good value, so that's good. The other guy I've got here is I've got the guy Bueno at I think it's the same guy, Vitor Bueno. That's what he's called in the sheet anyway. But the guy from Espos, he's been pretty reliable in midfield. So his card's not been terrible price wise. I mean, obviously I think the weekend, like he missed like a sitter. So I remember like like seeing a big chance miss, try to get clips and stuff. So come on, like I captained you, but it's the way it goes sometimes. Just still like sometimes can be running a wee bit below average and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, that's the worst thing. And hopefully you didn't wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning to watch them do that.
not after the Celtic Rangers game. I had a few drinks and a few cocktails and stuff. It was a bank holiday Monday, so made them.
Absolutely not that. Yeah.
No, definitely not. I do think Koga. I mean, Koga. I think is like a good shout. Like I'm doing, not doing my chances of getting a rare any good here, but I think he's probably just flown too much now. But like I do think like um he'll be pretty reliable. The other thing as well here is that this is a projected score, but I think having a think about home bias and everything for a defenders is quite important because you know so I know from Celtic, for example, like guys there are just like score monster at home. Now, obviously, that's not quite the same for the J League or whatever, but it's definitely something to think about when you're thinking about these guys who could put in a good AA performance. So,
Yeah, 100% factors in, and I think the J League's a bit similar to the K League as well at the moment, where they've had sort of this weekend midweek sort of rotation around. So those home teams, not only do they obviously have that kind of statistical advantage, but if there are any players you're a bit worried about that might need a rest, etc., then the home teams tend to they're a little less. cautious about sort of, traveling a player if it's halfway across the other side of the country, if they're, a little bit out on a knock or fatigued or whatever. So yeah, that kind of helps you as well if you've got a home team in terms of, hopefully getting your guy to start or at least come on and get minutes.
Yeah, I think Hayakawa's been pretty good. I mean, he's like I was looking at his scores and like he just like seems to do like so many like 70s and 80s and stuff. So I mean, he must be up there in terms of like the best sort of goalkeeper. Like the problem, like obviously with them is like they come out of these bundles and like you've got to buy everybody, and like a lot of guys will just go in and just buy them just with a view to just make a couple of quid reselling them or whatever. So a lot of them don't really go to the people who probably sort of want them because you've got to buy all five. But I actually got one of the limited ones. I think it was about 65 quid or whatever. But I got him and got like Suzuki as well, who's obviously been historically a really good scorer. And I didn't think it was like too bad or whatever. And obviously because you're buying a few of them, you get a reasonable collection bonus. So you get 50 points per card, I think, on these special ones as well. So it's not that hard to get like a decent bonus as well, which is good.
No, that's it. Especially a lot of these J League, K League teams, they've got sort of 40-man squads a lot of the time. So, in limited, I mean, I know they upped the minimum bid price, didn't they? But still, you're not talking a lot of money to get in a handful of players to get yourself towards a 3-4% collection bonus. So yeah, I think you got a point there.
Like Kota Takai, I think he's a guy who'll end up in Europe. Like I think he looks pretty good. I think he's been in and around some of the actual Japanese squads and everything as well. So like I definitely could see him like making a good move. And obviously no help for the weekend, but again at home and he's put in a lot of good scores, right? So Riku Handa, I mean, he was linked with, I'm sure he was linked with Hearts or something last season. That'd have been a sensational signing for Hearts, obviously. But like he's been brilliant at the start of the season. Like he's been putting in lots of really good scores. And again, I think Gamba are at home to Sanfrecce, so even if it's a kind of tightish game, you could see like a clean sheet sort of factoring in there. I don't know, what am I talking about, Sanfrecce? Like it's just like 91st minute, 89th minute, 93rd minute. You just think like Kozako's there and they just bugger you up. But anyway, that's
But
me.
this is why you want to talk it through because this is the exercise you need to convince your mind out of making,
I know.
line up decisions just like that.
I think I've got to line them up somewhere because like they're just obviously I'm in a fortunate position because I can put out a couple of teams, right? So but I mean if you're just buying a team or whatever, like I just think they've become like reasonable value now, if you know what I mean. I was just expecting them to be more because they even though they've been through a bit of carnage or whatever, you look at the game weeks and you think they do have like in amongst the top three like clean sheet projected percentages and stuff. Like those A fixtures or B or well so probably it's the J League, so it'll be like D and E and or whatever. Like you know what I mean? Like, it's like still going to be in amongst the best that you can pick. So
Yeah.
um, Rafael Elias has been really good. He's been excellent for Sanga. I mean, Sanga have kind of fallen off a wee bit in terms of conceding goals, but they still seem to be scoring. He's had a rotation recently as well, so he's definitely somebody think he's still got a bag for the bench and stuff as well. He's not really big a defender or whatever. He's a striker, so if he comes on and scores two goals, then it's job done, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Still 70 odd points. That's what you need really.
I think Sen Takagi, like if he is actually 8% to play, then he could be an outside shout. I mean, he's not been playing as much recently, but you see his last 15 average still 58. So like he's a guy who scores pretty well, but might go under the radar a bit for S Pulse. So guys like that you can look out for, I think will be could be quite interesting. Um yeah, it's a different Bueno. So Mafias Bueno feel the actual Bueno I've got is only a projected 55. That's not good news. The wrong Bueno. I was talking about the wrong
Um,
Bueno earlier.
a couple above him, I'm going to butcher the name, but Akuma Sekigawa. He's someone I own. He's at Antlers, and yeah, I mean, last season he was on his sort of U23 smashers, but I don't think he's doing quite as well this season. But he's, you go back and look at some historic scores. He's one of these players that can put up a big one. So he's not in form at the moment, but again, if you're looking for a sneaky under the radar option, he might be one to have a look at.
I call him the Japanese slab head. So it's sort of someone who just like reminded me of Harry, like the Japanese Harry Maguire or something at
He's
some
got
point.
that face to him on the card, yeah.
The Japanese slab head. Anyway, He's obviously not as good as Harry Maguire these days. He's dancing by people in the wing and everything. So yeah, I don't think he's going to start because I used him at the weekend and he came off injured. So it looks like
Oh,
he's,
did he? I missed that. Okay.
yeah. Actually, I can see he's actually 10% on the sheet and
I didn't know if that had updated or not, if it was just a weird piece of data, but yeah, I did see that and was
no,
hoping it would be the case. But
I think that's accurate, unfortunately. But obviously you never know. But it might be some news and everything sort of.
well, scrap what I just said. Then don't go buying him unless you want to play U23 over the summer.
Yeah, well, the other thing as well is that he's going to stop this year now. So yeah, the other thing I guess is that like antlers are obviously like in and out, like obviously because they're the bundles. So let's see if I can fix my video again. Yeah, it's working. It's good at this IT. Like just turn it off and turn it back on again. It's absolutely superb. Um, yeah, I mean they're just because they're always in bundles, aren't they? So it's like yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
it's big commitment. If you just want one or two pieces out of that, then yeah. But I mean, if you're not bothered about the collection score, you can make it up elsewhere. Then seems to be plenty of these trader guys that are buying the bundles up and then splitting them out. So, and you never know. I mean, do they give them away as rewards individually? So today being rewards today, there might be a
I
whole
think
load
you
of
can get
people.
them as rewards, yeah, but
Yeah.
can't they can't sell them. So something to do with image rights or something. So
Oh,
like
really? Okay, I didn't
don't
know that.
sell them in bundles because of the image rights. So I'm sure you can definitely win them, but you can win them individually, but you can't actually they can't sell them individually. So it's a weird one.
But the manager can, if you win it, you can sell it individually.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah.
can, but like Sorare can't. So the deal with Sorare is like how they're going to sell the NFTs off, but I
Yeah.
think they're allowed to reward them individually, and then if you get them individually, or you get them, or if you buy the bundle and you say I only want Hayakawa, you can just sell the other four or whatever. But it's just that initial how they sell them. It was the same, I think, with like Inter Milan, and I think even at the very start, like remember way back at the start, it's like Liverpool used to be in bundles. So I remember like. You'll never walk alone, just hoovering up all the bundles. Liverpool just had like he just hoovered everything, and he done very well out of that, obviously, because Liverpool were pretty good. But yeah, really interesting. So anyway, well that was I think we'll pretty much get through everything that was on the agenda. So uh,
Yeah. Yeah, that's been fun. Hopefully, we haven't rambled on too long and lost everyone's attention. But yeah, there's a lot to go through, despite it only being two leagues on offer and the two competitions. But I think it's worth the time and the effort because, like we said, the rewards are there, and they're quite healthy. So it's worth. I always feel like these are the leagues where a bit of knowledge goes a long way. So if you can find those odd little bits if you're not that familiar with the league or get something out today, get yourself five starters that got a good chance of hitting some scores, then hopefully your quid's in.
yeah, I mean, I think the other thing as well is that like a lot of these cards will go down a good bit in value. I mean, like. When I'm buying these cards, like I love the cards. I love like this Sakura Jet, like it's loads of details and stuff on it. You can't always see it, just to position my camera, but like I'm quite happy to like be stuck with these in my gallery. Like if you're just gonna go in and gonna play this weekend or whatever, got to understand you're paying a bit of a premium because you're buying one of the last of the Harangue or the Sakura like specials or special edition cards. They're not just designed to play like this weekend, like you're supposed to keep them. So if you try and buy them and you try and punt them on, you're gonna make an inevitable kind of loss on that, I guess. But I mean I think like if you unless you have a bit of a Chernobyl, then when you look at the depth of the payouts and stuff, like should be able to get like something back to compensate for what you're doing. So even if you just get reasonable starters and stuff. But then I guess everybody's trying to do the same thing. But the payouts are quite deep. They're paying out like hundreds of places for this, and for individual leagues, like that's really good.
Yeah, no, honestly, I think, so rare have taken their sort of stick and how they've dealt with the Asian leagues in the past, but, nothing but, praise for them for putting on, this competition not once but twice. I kind of like this mechanic. It'd be interesting to see if they do these sort of special edition cards for, say, the MLS in a month or two's time and then run a similar type of competition or whether they feel they don't need to because of hot streaks. But, when the European season comes back again, maybe in the autumn or towards Christmas, maybe they'll have Christmas special cards again or league specific ones. I think it's quite a nice mechanic that hopefully we see more often.
I think the thing they really did do with this was that there was a better connection to the cards. Like, so I got the neon thing and I got what they were trying to do as a special edition for Christmas. But like when you look at these jerseys, when you look at the cards, you look at the designs, you look at them having the actual names in the native language. Like I think they ticked a lot of the boxes a lot better there. Like, I look at them in my gallery, I think they look really good. You get nice wee flowers and all on them. They just look nice, and like, I think that actually they've managed to make that connection a lot better with this stuff. Okay, they're not selling for like the prices that you're gonna see the European cards sell for, but that's never going to be the case, right? Because they're not the big leagues. So
Yeah, no, I think it's spot on, and yeah, proper praise on the design piece as well. And I just know that later in the year, I'm probably going to be sat there looking at some of the secondary market, going, shall I complete another Soul collection? But purely in the special edition because that's probably what I'll just degen into later in the year. But I'm sure there'll be a whole lot of other people out there, collectors that fancy doing the same thing later on, just because, like you say, they just look so good in the gallery, don't they?
yeah, awesome. Anyways, thanks very much for making your debut on the channel. It's been good to have you on. Hopefully we'll have some other sort of chances to do some stuff later on anyway. There's only
Yeah,
one
no,
thing, I don't know if you ever got to one of the ends of the videos, but you've got to end it in the same way as I end the video. So we end as always in customary fashion, and the way we end it is say good luck and go fuck.
good luck, go fuck.
Thanks for coming on, Simon. Enjoyed it. Cheers.
Having me.